Com sends our food, mostly leftovers from the dinner that we'd missed, out to us in a floating basket as Amicus prepares the sightseer. We board, and soon enough, we're heading out toward the island. The one that I haven't been to since I followed Alex there with Neferu. Being so late at night, or rather early in the morning, it was refreshing compared to the humid mornings and afternoons. Amicus is clearly enjoying it, his elbows on the railing of our craft, leaning back, head tilted up toward the sky, a slight smile on his face. His fur whips around gently on his face and torso, and that single fang that always pokes out under his lips gently glints softly under the light of the celestial bodies above us. He looks so peaceful, something he deserves more than anything. So I savor the moment, trying to capture this image perfectly in my mind, knowing that not so long from now, I'll want to be able to look back on this when I'm out on my own. I bite my lip and blink back the small thread of tears just in time before Amicus's eyes open again. Despite everything seemingly getting in our way, we will have to travel for a few weeks together before you might leave. Oh? For what? For you to tour the moon, and also for us to pick up Cassius from the final city in his destination. It will give you an opportunity to see most of Adastra so that you better understand the moon. Amicus winks. And it has been decreed by the parents, so there's no getting out of it. Don't I know it? I feel both happiness at the idea of having some guaranteed time with Amicus, while also feeling that pang of resentment at the thought of the parents making it happen. Our craft pushes up onto the beach, and Amicus hops out before reaching out a paw to help me down onto the sand, even though he doesn't have to. I bring the blanket while Amicus carries the basket, and we set things out in roughly the same spot we did all those months ago in my first weeks here. Only months. Feels like years. As we set out the food, I do kind of wish we had Neapolitan pizza, as I see the usual bread, cheese, olives, and poultry, along with various vegetables I've never been able to identify. Still, it's good enough, and I'm just happy to lounge next to Amicus while we eat. Again, it's in that comfortable silence that I always enjoy with my wolf. A silence that doesn't have to be filled with anything except the sounds of chewing, which mostly come from Amicus. After a while, though, he breaks the silence with something that almost makes me choke on my Virdi. So, how do humans get married? You present a ring, correct? I cough loudly for a second while Amicus stares. Are you all right? What do you mean by that? I stare at Amicus, then look around, trying to spot something that might tell me what the wolf is up to. I am just curious. That's what you said when you asked me about dating. Oh, yes. Are you suspecting that I might ask for your paw in marriage? Even though Amicus is grinning teasingly, I can tell that he's blushing even under the moonlight. You didn't think asking something like that would make me suspicious? Well, I don't know. It's an interesting topic that has never been brought up. Two males cannot be married anyway, let alone ones from different species. I feel myself calm down a little, not sure how I would have reacted if Amicus had just whipped out a ring then and there. Amicus is still looking at me, expecting an answer. I swallow, then think. I guess you just propose to the person you want to marry. Then you go to the courthouse and sign some papers and it's official. I think. I don't know, I've never been married. And in some places, males can marry other males, right? I narrow my eyes. How would you know that? Again, I've spent some time with your Nexus. It's only fair I do, considering you've been spending so much of your own time learning about Adastra. I'm starting to see why Amicus might have been so busy these past months, starting up his own restaurant and learning human culture. Well, you're right. There are a lot of places on Earth where you can marry the same sex. Amicus looks off into the lake. That does sound rather nice. What about Italy? I glance at Amicus, noticing the interest he's been taking in the country he abducted me from. I suppose it's a place for him to look to for inspiration, a vision of what Adastra could be, which makes sense. It's the location of the uplift, of course, but it also has a turbulent history, and politics that have always been raucous and unpredictable. But considering where the country started and where it is now, Amicus wouldn't be wrong to find inspiration there. Again, Amicus is waiting for his answer, and I have to think back to what little I researched about the topic. Sort of? I think civil unions are a thing, which is pretty close to marriage, but not really. I think if you marry someone from an EU country, you can... I realize that Amicus might have no idea what I'm talking about, even though he seems to be listening intently. Anyway, yeah, sort of. Civil unions. Mostly marriage, but not really marriage. I think it'll happen there soon, though. Sounds complicated. Yeah, it gets really complicated. Amicus is still looking out at the lake. You want to swim? I blink. No, the water will be freezing. So I don't want to die of hypothermia? Amicus guffaws. You really are a pup. It's not that cold. I roll my eyes, feeling a little whiplash from the sudden change in conversation. Then I yelp in surprise as I feel myself get swooped up from the ground, easily held up in Amicus's strong paws. Hey! I'll show you. What? I struggle in the wolf's grasp, very much not in the mood to be dunked in freezing cold water. Amicus's strength can't be matched by me, though, and the waves get louder as the wolf walks closer to the water's edge. Amicus! My robe! Realizing that a dip in the lake is inevitable, I start to try and struggle out of my garments. But at that moment, I'm suddenly set back down on my feet. Dazed, I stumble. We're right at the water's edge, and where the waves are crawling up the sand just a few inches from my feet. The lake stretches out to my right, dark and expansive, the blackness broken by the shimmers of silver light reflecting on the rippling water. It takes me a while to finally focus on Amicus. That's because he's kneeling on the beach, reaching up toward me with both paws. And I see what is definitely a ring held between the pads of his fingers. I stare. Amicus clears his throat, his bravado from just a minute ago having quickly faded, replaced by a look he'd once worn when he offered me a bouquet of flowers in the gardens. Will you be my husband? I continue to stare. Amicus stares back, clearly trying to keep a confident look on his face. But after a few more seconds, it fails. I know what I'm doing this time. I was sure to research it. I know what this means. He stubbornly holds up the ring. Now I get a good look at it, and I'm not sure if it's just reflecting the sky, but the ring appears to be a dark, dark blue, with tiny speckles of sparkling stones dotting the rim, just like the stars above. A thin stripe of silver wraps all the way around the band, straight down the middle. But you said males couldn't marry each other. I mumble that out stupidly, not sure why it's the first thing that comes to my mind. Amicus ducks his head slightly. No, but I am emperor. And I know that might sound bad after what happened earlier, but I want this. So I will have it. Amicus looks back up at me with a determined expression. That is, if you will have it as well. I'm frozen, and that determined expression melts away once again as Amicus looks like he's about to panic. 8 years, Marco. That is too long. We need something to bind us together. To always remember. To have something when we reunite. A few more moments of silence. I see Amicus's paws faltering, starting to pull back. And that's what finally gets my stupid brain to force me to move, reaching down to gently touch the ring. Yes, of course. Amicus's ears perk up. Yes? I will marry you. Of course. I laugh through the last words, not even sure what I'm doing right now. Yes! Amicus hops to his feet, fists in the air as if he just won some kind of sports competition. Before I can say anything else, he's crushing the air from my lungs with the force of the hug he pulls me into, pressing his muzzle against my lips. Then when he pulls back, he adds another kiss, this one a canine-style lick up the side of my face. Ah! I flinch back, surprised by the gesture. It's a juvenile show of affection, something a pup would do, and something Amicus has never done to me before. He looks happier than I've seen him in months. Marco, I'm going to be the best husband there ever was. I love you. He pulls me against his body again, more gently this time, looking into my eyes. Though I know that marriages on Adastra are more pragmatic, it seems that Amicus has, for the most part, educated himself on the more emotional, romantic meaning it holds on Earth. The wolf takes my hand in his much bigger paw, drawing it up between us so that he can slide the ring on. Amicus chuckles as it's clear that it's much, much too big, at least twice the width of my finger. I'll have to have it fitted, of course. I simply wanted it to be a complete surprise. It worked. I was worried when you didn't assume the usual position I examined in the image's comet showed me of a human proposal. Position? The male is on one knee and the female does this. Amicus assumes a look of surprise, both paws up to his muzzle. I'm laughing as I hold up the ring to the moonlight, examining the tiny speckles of sparkling stone embedded in the dark blue metal. I also thought a stretch ring would be most appropriate. Stretch ring? Amicus reaches out, taking the ring from my fingers to hold it up between us. It symbolizes space and the stars, of course. But this... Amicus points a blunt claw at the thin stripe of silver running around the middle of the band. This symbolizes connection between those who are long distances apart. Yeah? Yes, some believe that the shape of our universe is spherical, and that it sort of folds in upon itself. Amicus sees my furrowed brows. Think of it like this. If I walk in that direction, Amicus points out across the lake, in a straight line for many months, eventually, I will end up right back here, next to you. So, there is a belief that the universe could hold a similar shape. A sphere that is expanding. And this ring... Amicus spins the ring around, showing me the silver circle. Reminds us that, even if we are moving apart on the stretch drive, we are still moving toward each other in a straight line, which is the fastest way to get to somewhere. Touch convoluted, I know, and somewhat unlikely theory, but it can be a comforting thought. I like to think of it more as being connected by fate. Yes, we will be far apart, but there is an invisible thread connecting us that cannot be broken, and will soon draw us back together. I cut the wolf off as I hug him, pressing my face into his chest, the bittersweet sadness I'd been feeling for many months, coming to the surface all at once. Amicus holds me quietly as we stand there on the beach in silence. I'm happy and sad all at once. And I just want to stay here forever. We make our way back to our room, the sky beginning to lighten with the approaching dawn. Along the way, Amicus starts to get handsy, and by the time we're at the door, the wolf practically pushes me inside, attacking my neck with licks. I cringe and laugh at the ticklishness of it, trying to escape until Amicus has me pinned to the wall next to the door. Going somewhere? The wolf starts to take off my robe, and at the same time, I start to remove his garments. Yes, and you're coming with me. Oh, well, lead the way then. I grab his semi-hard length, which causes it to immediately twitch to full mast. Amicus seems to grow frustrated with undoing my underwear, and resorts to just yanking it down from my body, leaving me naked as well. The wolf sweeps me off my feet and takes me to the bed, all the while we both kiss each other. It's much more passionate, almost animalistic compared to our kiss on the beach. Amicus growling into it while my tongue pushes past his lips, feeling his big, long teeth and wide, flat tongue. He lays me on the bed and we kiss for a while longer. Amicus's paws moving up and down my sides while I feel up his back, his cock laying heavy on top of mine, twitching each time I make a moaning sound. Finally, the wolf pulls back, his tongue hanging out for a moment before he clears his throat, suddenly looking nervous. You alright? Yes, but there was something else I wanted to do for Lover's Day. Yeah? I look around wondering what else could be done aside from what we're doing right now. I would like to attempt some type of, what would you call it? Penetration? My heart skips a beat. We'd been intimate many times the past few months, and Amicus had inquired a few times about entering me, but I'd always been hesitant because of our size difference. Eventually, the wolf just stopped asking. I know that you are wary of my size, but if you'd like to try, I've made sure to get proper lubrication. The best quality on the moon. Amicus walks over to the dresser and opens a drawer before pulling out a jar. He has it open by the time he returns. But I decided it would only be fair if I offered a choice instead. A choice? Yes, I want to be even closer with you, Marco. But if it's not possible for you to take me in, then I'll take you. My eyebrows shoot up and Amicus rolls his eyes. Well, don't look so surprised. Weren't you the one that told me that the emperors shouldn't have anything near their butts or something? And they shouldn't. Amicus blushes furiously. But if you're to be my future husband, and we keep it from the public, of course. And I would still like to try to enter you, as I feel that suits me better, but I'm going to leave the choice up to you for Lover's Day. So, which position would you like to take? We're topping that boy. Except you're gonna not see it. Bad. I consider the size difference again, and even though I know Amicus might prefer the other way around, I just don't think I'm quite ready yet. Top, if that's okay. I see the look of apprehension on Amicus's face for just a moment before he smiles. Of course. We don't have... I very much want to. Now, Amicus suddenly turns around. Apply the lubrication. Happy Lover's Day, Marco. Happy Lover's Day. I promise I won't ruin the next one. Even if that might be 8 years away. Well, That's a lot of time to prepare, then. Amicus laughs, but cuts himself off as he leans in to kiss me again. My last full day on Adastra comes just as soon as I thought it would. Too soon. As I sit on the stone bench, breathing in the cool, early morning air, I find myself trying to think back on the last few months, even the last few weeks. It's all a bit blurry. The days continued in the same way, me with too much time on my hands, while Amicus was kept busy by a rapidly changing empire. With his assigned role already in progress, I've mostly been left to wait, and while the wait seemed torturously long, it simultaneously seemed unrealistically quick. It feels like only last week that I was touring the moon with Amicus, visiting the major cities on our way to pick up Cassius. It had been one of the better experiences I had on Adastra, really getting to see how different each part of the moon could be for the first time, despite the basically universal culture. I got to see the breathtaking mountain ranges that surrounded the city of Lux. I rode giant, questionably safe amusement rides and ate all kinds of good food in the city of Adrote, basically a giant Las Vegas. And all the while, I got to stay in luxurious villas owned by the imperial family, spending much of my time taking walks, fishing, and even hunting with Amicus. And then we picked up Cassius and Alex, and the trip ended. That was over 3 months ago. Ever since then, the only thing I've really focused on is my studies. I've learned enough of the language that I can hold stilted conversations with Amicus. He always enthusiastically tells me that I'm doing an amazing job, even though I know I probably sound like a very young child to him. One with that heavy, clumsy accent. I don't think I've done enough. None of this is going to help me with my mission on Earth. Not since the experience I had with Amicus in the archives have I heard from the Monitor, let alone the parents. Instead, they seem to be content to just let me drift around aimlessly like I always have. It's gotten to the point that I even asked Amicus if what happened in the archives actually happened and wasn't all just a dream. And speaking of dreams, I haven't even been given one of those. Not even an all is well from the space dragon. What's most infuriating is that Amicus is in contact with them. Of course, he's asked on my behalf if they have anything to say to me, but nothing. I can only assume it's because they don't want to interfere with the process, even though they're going to have to tell me something. At least direct where to go first. Otherwise, they're probably just going to hospitalize me when I show up talking about space wolves and the impending assimilation with the Galaxius. I feel my insides twist uncomfortably, like they have been for the past several months, and especially in the past week. I'd have to leave Amicus's room because I didn't want to keep waking him up with my tossing and turning. That, and lying there awake, watching Amicus sleep innocently next to me is just a bit too much for me right now. I know I should be savoring these last moments, but instead, I find myself twisted up in worry. I'm gonna be alone. It's something that hasn't really scared me much before I came here, but after being with Amicus for so long, and now with this path ahead of me, I go from hugging myself to twirling the now fitted ring on my finger. It's been a security blanket of sorts. We had debated on whether or not to marry before I leave, but eventually decided Amicus should lay some legal groundwork first so as not to cause too much of an uproar. He has 8 years to do it, after all. It will give me something to look forward to when I return. Our entire lives adjusted to fit the schedule laid out by the parents. This is all assuming they're telling the truth, and, not for the first time, I wonder if I can really count on them to make sure I return to Adastra. They're controlling everything, and I don't think they would be sending me on a mission that would somehow result in me never coming back here. That's the whole point. I'm uniting two different worlds. I sigh, closing my eyes at the ridiculous weight of that statement. Why the hell did they choose me? I'm a fucking idiot. I open my eyes again as I hear shuffling steps up the path. For a moment, I think it's going to be Amicus, maybe having woken up and found me missing from the bed. It's what I hope to see, even though I know he needs his sleep. I'm under enough stress right now that I'm willing to be selfish. But no. I'm a bit surprised to see Virginia walking along the main path, head down as she manipulates one of those transparent tablets that the officials around here have. As she gets closer, I let out a soft cough so I don't surprise her. She looks up, her pace slowing before she realizes that it's me. I had assumed she would just continue on her way, but now she deliberately walks in my direction. Pleasant morning to you, Marco. Good morning. I must say that I'm a bit surprised to see you outside before Vita has even risen. I shrug. I had trouble sleeping. There's a pause, and Virginia gives me a look, one that I think is sympathetic. I imagine. More silence. Even now, at the very end of my journey on Adastra, I feel the stiff, awkward wall between us. Out of everyone I've met in the palace, I feel I know Virginia the least, and that includes Alex. While her intentions became clear to me, like everyone's eventually did, I literally know nothing else about her. I try to fill the silence. So what has you up so early? Virginia raises an eyebrow. We have run out of time to negotiate funding for smaller provinces in the north. I am using the early hours to make time. That doesn't sound fun. It is not meant to be fun. My life is now dedicated to serving the Empire. My own concerns do not matter. I sigh. Listen, I'm going to be honest here. You seem less happy than you were before you had this position. Again, my concerns are not important. I'm not saying they are. I'm just wondering why you wanted this position if it's only making your life worse. Virginia gives me a long, hard look. It always seems like our conversations become tense if we talk for more than 3 sentences. I think that you are not understanding the concept. My concerns do not matter. I do not matter. What does matter is the work I do. So, you just wanted to run the Empire in a more efficient way or something? Yes, or something. You could just be blunt like the Chemians are and tell me. We'd get to the point and then you wouldn't have to be so angry all the time. The look on Virginia's face has me raising my hands defensively. Alright, sorry. I know whenever I talk I just piss you off, so I'll just stop. What has you so brash this morning? Everything. I put out my hands to either side of myself, as if to indicate the whole situation I'm in. But at least I'm not always, I don't know, acting like you're just an annoying distraction. Hell, even Cassius acknowledges my presence more than you do. I mean, it's a bit late now, but considering I'm in a relationship with your brother, maybe we should get to know each other when I come back. Virginia regards me for a moment, then takes a deep breath. Marco, I know you are leaving tomorrow, as we all do. But I also know that you will be back, and I will be made to work with you for a very long time. Likely the rest of our lives. I frown. How would Virginia know I'll be working with the Empire? Is she supposed to know that? I start to wonder if the parents are talking, just not to me. Virginia answers that question next, though. Amicus told me, as he should have, considering my position. It will help us prepare, at least in secret. I wonder if the parents told him that was okay. I don't want to deviate from their plan at all if it risks my mission. Virginia interrupts my thoughts, though. But I will say this once and never again. So remember it when you return. I wait expectantly. While young, my brothers and I experienced very different sides of my father. He coddled Amicus, neglected Cassius, and for me, it was a sort of in-between. He paid me very close but strict attention. Unlike my brothers, who received lessons in maths, science, and combat, I was given lessons in speech, etiquette, but mainly I was subjected to long, cruel sessions of behavioral molding. He altered who I was as a person, something he would never do to his sons. Oh. Why? All I understood at the time was that he planned for me to occupy a prestigious position in the Empire. Still, I hated him for it. I felt almost no emotion when his sabotaged ship crashed. Oh. Yes. Odd how he would project himself to be the most egalitarian emperor in our history, yet treat his own daughter like clay that he could shape in any way he wanted. Now I'm really at a loss for words. But, following his death and the resulting power struggle, I came to learn why, and the reason was rather simple. If I were to be the first female in a particular position of power, I needed to set an example. Not only that, but I would need to ward off attempts by those in power to undermine me. My mind was already trained for the deceit I would come up against, and it serves me well, even now as officials spread rumors and attempt to discredit me. Amateurish rumors, I'll have you know. Seems they can't think of anything more complex than saying the reason I get so much done is because I'm a whore. But Father personally made sure I understood the most important lesson in this empire. Trust no male. It's what will keep me alive in this role. While I still hate Father, I understand him now, which is better than just hate. Through all of this, I can only sit there awkwardly on the bench. Okay, so is that why you treat me the way you do? I'm a male and you can't trust me? Marco, I trust no one. I simply don't have to worry about women because they hold no power. Yes. I tell you this so that you might understand me as you wished. We will need to be close allies in the future, after all. While I'm sure my upbringing has a little bit to do with my demeanor, the main reason for my shortness with you is simply due to your immaturity and lack of self-control. Amicus is no different. I grimace. I think I'm a bit better than Amicus. Yes. Though he is growing into his position well enough. I'm sure you will as well. I'm not sure if that's encouragement or an insult. And thank you for saving my brother. I don't believe I've had the chance to say that yet. I know what I just said, but he is one of the few I can trust to be himself. Then Virginia turns away, walking toward the Imperial ship. I really must be off to the city now. I'll be present for your departure tomorrow morning. Goodbye. Bye. I watch Virginia walk off into the dark, still feeling like I don't really know anything about her, even if she did kind of open up to me for the first time. At least she's willing to work with me on how to integrate humanity. I've been worried about that. The edge of the sky is just turning a lighter blue as I make my way back into the palace. This is usually about the time that Amicus wakes up, so I'm not surprised to hear the shower running when I walk into his room. I think about going into the bathroom, then think better of it, not wanting to hold up Amicus's morning routine. I have to admit that I'm a little disappointed that he didn't come looking for me first thing. Usually that's something he'd do if he's not sure where I am. For now, I just sit on the bed and wait, gradually growing more tired as the minutes go by, finally feeling like I might be able to get some sleep. Then the door slides open and Amicus steps out, freshly showered and dressed. He smiles brightly when he sees me. There you are. I was wondering if maybe you'd gone to get breakfast early. Immediately I'm jarred by Amicus's overly cheerful demeanor, his voice louder than usual. No, I just needed some air. Air? Is it too stuffy in here? No, it's freezing as usual. I stand up and hug Amicus, which he enthusiastically accepts. I sink into his furry warmth, and I feel my eyes sting as the reality of how much time we have left really sinks in. Amicus. My voice is small and sad, and Amicus quickly but gently sets his paws on my shoulders to push me back a step so that he can look at me in the eyes. Hey, I'm going to be back early tonight, as early as possible. Unfortunately, there are a few mandatory meetings involving the Chemians that I must attend. I know. Amicus had already tried to take the day off, but of course, things came up. And don't worry, I've kept tonight simple. Just dinner between you and I. I can tell that Amicus is putting on a brave face. And so I do the same and swallow back the awful feelings that have been threatening to overwhelm me. Alright, I'll be waiting. Good. I won't be long, and the sooner I leave, the sooner I will return. Then you'd better get going. Right away, Emperor Consort. I grimace at the title I would hold if Amicus made our marriage official. But he plants a kiss on my face anyway before pulling back and smiling at me. I love you, and tonight we shall be happy. I try to smile back as Amicus takes his leave, disappearing out the door, wondering how I'm going to manage to do that. Hopefully well enough for Amicus's sake. I'm able to nap for a few hours, after which I walk through the halls, though at a much slower pace than usual. I take a good look at everything, remembering. I walk past the meditation room and I pause before opening the door. I'd made up with Amicus here after our fight a year ago. This is also where I accidentally got high on the Somni Cassius had been smoking. The main reason I opened the door, though, is because I'm curious if any of the plants is lying around. Maybe try to contact the monitor myself. I don't see any, and remembering Cassius's horrible experience gets me to give up pretty fast, not wanting to be tormented by the monitor because I didn't follow their plan correctly. I head out into the gardens, like usual, taking in the beauty of the arranged foliage for the last time. I remember my first morning here, with Alex. He'd been so helpful and kind, and I feel some sadness at the idea that I'll probably never see him again. It stalled a bit as I remember that he'd only been sizing me up for manipulation, even then. While I feel our friendship had been partially genuine, I know that what he's done is something I can never forgive. Even though Cassius was able to. I head back in for a light breakfast, sitting on Amicus's usual bed. I watch the screens as I do, not surprised to see Amicus's face pop up a few times. He is the Emperor, after all, but I am surprised to see my own face, and I know immediately they're talking about us, speculating. I tell Calm to turn it off and sit there for a bit, thinking back on what had happened in this room. As always, my eyes are drawn to the dark wine stain in Cassius's bed, something that remained even after a deep cleaning. It hasn't been replaced, likely because Cassius doesn't really live in the palace anymore. Of course, it always brings to mind the moment he drank that poisoned wine. The day we'd all sat there knowing something was wrong, yet Cassius still trusting Kato enough to never suspect an assassination attempt. Something he would have suspected if Neferu and I had been less cautious about releasing the information on the sabotaged ship. It probably wasn't enough to convict him in a trial, but all would be known. Or all would have known. Even now, I'm not sure why I'd handed the wine to him, knowing it would end badly, knowing I should spill it just like I did my first time serving. Yet, I did what I was told, almost like a robot. Maybe because I'd been conditioned to do whatever the wolves told me. I don't blame Cassius for staying away from the palace after what he went through. An assassination attempt resulting in a medically induced coma does things to the mind, according to him. I wonder if that includes forgiving a spy that's partially responsible for dozens of deaths. Feeling slightly nauseous, I send the rest of my food back. I decide not to think about Alex anymore, feeling like the cat had never gotten what he deserved. I need to distract myself until Amicus gets back, so I head for the baths. It's become part of my routine, and the part I always look forward to the most for a couple of reasons. First, it's nice to soak, and second, because I see the person I often run into here. He soaks in the pool, head leaning back against the edge, eyes closed. While I may have lost my friendship with Alex, I've gained a great one with Neferu. Good thing, too, considering he's the only other sapient that's regularly in the palace during the day. I walk over to the benches, beginning to strip off my robe, glancing at the jackal. You know, it's not safe to fall asleep in the bath. Neferu shifts, raising an eyebrow even though he keeps his eyes closed. I appreciate your concern, but I feel that the sensation of water filling my lungs would be sufficient to wake me. And I was not asleep. I was awaiting your arrival. I walk up to the edge of the pool, Neferu turning his head to look back at me, not even glancing at my naked groin. Really? I didn't think you'd be here. Amicus told me he had Chemian meetings to go to. Briefly, I feel a little upset at the idea of that Neferu might stay at the palace to see me while Amicus wouldn't. But only briefly. Things are different for the Emperor. Luckily for me, my presence is no longer requested at such meetings. It matters little. I have direct access to the Emperor anyway. I sigh. You should choose your words carefully in front of the Emperor's fiancée. Why must you think I always speak in innuendos? Because you do. I jump into the pool. It's not something I usually do, and I'm reminded why as my entire being burns for a few moments. It's worth it, though, as I come up and see that I've accomplished my goal of splashing Neferu, the jackal in the middle of pawing water from his eyes. I must say, you become more like him every day. I move to the bench to sit beside the jackal, my own eyes stinging from the salty spring water. And because I'm more willing to shut you up? Yes. Crude like the wolves, having to resort to physical methods because they can't use their words properly. I narrow my eyes. Well, talk enough shit, then you're gonna get hit. Humans are the same, and I have a feeling jackals are too. How would you know? I've never raised a paw against anyone on this moon. Probably because you know you wouldn't stand a chance. Also, I have seen you fight, first with Alex, and remember you accepted a spar with Amicus a few months back? I seem to have forgotten. Well, I haven't. You took off all your clothes to tease him, then got floored in like a second. He struck me in the stomach when I was not ready, and very hard, mind you. Their combat techniques are as crude as their words. You weren't ready because you were still using your words after the fight had started. Even though the incident had been a little worrying at the time, I find it mostly funny now and I smirk at the memory. How is that funny? I had to check into hospital to make sure he didn't rupture anything. It was very dangerous to do such a thing in what was supposed to be a friendly spar. I think it was the way you went from showboating to making the weirdest noises after you fell on the ground. Amicus probably did take out a lot of his built-up frustration in that attack. Unfortunately, it resulted in even more tension between the two of them, which makes things difficult because I like them both. I guess Neferu at least still talks official business with Amicus. Neferu huffs. And like that blow, bringing that up is rather low of you. He's right. My mood is a bit strange today, and just like with Virginia, I find myself being more blunt. I shrug. Well, so is making shitty comments about the wolves. Neferu sighs loudly, seemingly at a loss for words. A rare sight. I start to feel a bit guilty and clear my throat, changing the subject. To the subject I'm not really sure how to explain to the jackal. So, I'm leaving tomorrow. Neferu's eyes light up. So I have heard. Which is why I wanted to be sure that I would see you today, though I'm starting to regret it considering your mood. I slump against the ledge. I'm sorry. I'm feeling weird today. I'm just overwhelmed with everything that's happening. Well, you'll be returning, won't you? Yeah, just not sure when that might be. Obviously, Amicus wouldn't have told Neferu about our situation. Maybe even if the parents directed him to. I'm guessing it was Virginia who told him I'm leaving. This is a temporary trip, is it not? You are engaged to be married, after all. I shift a little under his intense gaze. Yeah, but I miss my planet. I just need to be home for a while, so it might be a while. Neferu was quiet for a moment. Does a while mean weeks? Months? I look away over the surface of the steaming water. Maybe a bit longer. Years. It's more of a statement than a question. Maybe. Well, I must say that I was rather shocked to hear of your sudden plans for departure, that you would not tell me earlier. I half-heartedly will the parents to send me a signal that I can just tell Neferu everything. But, like always, all is quiet in space. But now I'm less surprised, considering that it sounds like you yourself did not realize you would be leaving. I just didn't know how to tell you. That, or you're hiding something. I look at him. What? Oh, Marco. You're not nearly as subtle as you think. Like I said, you're becoming more like Amicus every day. What do you mean? Well, your sudden interest in galactic affairs, for one, but mostly it's your mere presence here in the first place. It makes little sense. Oh, yeah? I kind of hope that Neferu figures it out on his own, considering that would dodge the issue of me telling anyone. Oh, yes. If I were to guess, you are currently being trained by Adastra to assimilate your people with the children of the wolves. I physically recoil at the idea, even though he's incredibly close. What? Hell no! I would never do that to my people. Or to any people. Despite Amicus being emperor and despite his slow but steady improvements for the Wolven children, it's still not a situation I would put Earth in willingly. Neferu raises his eyebrows again, seemingly convinced by my reaction. We regard each other for a moment, and Neferu blinks first. So, you really won't tell me? I didn't say I had a secret to tell, though. You're just assuming. Honestly, I'm a bit hurt that you feel you can't trust me with this information, after all this time. Now I raise an eyebrow. Neferu, you haven't told me anything about your own situation on your planet, along with your family. Well, you never asked. Because I know it's personal. You dodged the topic whenever I brought it up. It's a very long story, first of all. And second of all, it's a story about me being a selfish, foolish brat. Of course I wouldn't want to tell you. But if I tell you, would you tell me? I think, somewhat tempted to make him tell his story than just lie about mine, but only for a second. I sigh. No. I'll only be able to when I come back. Neferu's impish nature deflates pretty quick. Well, at least you're honest. I suppose I'll trust you that it's rather important and not my place to know. I admit that I'm still hurt by all this, and that's not something I admit often. Sorry. I promise you'll understand once I'm back. Again, I wonder if I'm already admitting too much. But years? I can't predict where I'll be in that amount of time. Back on Kemia? Possibly, if all goes well. I'll visit. I'm a citizen, remember? Well, they rarely allow us to use the stretch for only visits, but being the Emperor's husband might make that easier. Yeah, I'll convince him. That seems to bring the issue of my sudden departure to a close. We sit there in silence for a long while, then I place a hand on Neferu's knee. It's not something I would have done in the past, considering the Jackal's reputation, but nothing about it seems sensual. Instead, I do it out of pure solidarity and friendship. And I wanted to say thank you, Neferu, for everything. I don't think I'd be alive if you weren't there for me. I know you had your reasons, everyone did, but thank you. It is the duty of all Chemians to protect any sapient fleeing wolf in violence, whether they be sibling, child, or, as you happen to be, abandoned. I'll believe that after I visit Chemia and have a look for myself. I'll be your tour guide. And, Neferu, you can still tell me what's going on with your family, if you want. Definitely not. Do you really want to know? The situation is complex, unresolved, and seems to always be changing. I mean, yeah, I'd like to know. It seems really important to you, but it feels unfair that I make him tell me his clearly painful story without my own. Again, when I'm back, then we can trade. Deal. Neferu stands up, stepping up onto the bench before reaching down to pull me up. Now, let's go for a walk before your wolf returns. I would like our last conversations to be of happier things. I take his paw, letting him pull me up. Then the two of us step out of the pool to towel off and dress. Neferu is easily able to shift the conversation to things that are light and interesting, and it almost makes me forget that I'm leaving. And so this Wolverine actually believes that the Imperial family would even consider apologizing for the war. Absolutely asinine, if you ask me. Sounds reasonable. What? No, Marco, it is not. We suffered the heaviest casualties. But wasn't it started by the Empire? No, it was started by Chemian provocation. Haven't you learned the history? Well, yeah, but attacking a planet full of sapient children wasn't the best way to respond. We attacked the Chemian bases with weaponry which happened to be on a planet full of children. They were never fired on directly. So says the Adastran history book. Ugh! Why would you assume that? It's not a good argument to just whip out assumptions that these are lies. My father never lied. I'm basing it off of what I've learned from Kemian history as well. I'm not only learning about Adastra, you know. Amicus is quiet, but still looking huffy, so I lean over from my side of the couch to touch his shoulder. Listen, I'm not saying your father is a liar. I'm saying that sapiens are, as a whole, are. I know because humans do the exact same thing when we write our history. You should have a bit more pride in your species. How will you lead the humans otherwise? Actually, I think pride is the biggest wolven problem. Amicus just goes quiet. I think I hit a sore spot talking about his dad. And although I'm enjoying our usual, somewhat intense banter, I don't have as much energy as usual. Sorry, I shouldn't talk about things I don't understand. Amicus looks at me with surprise. What? No, I do want you to talk to me about these things. I might seem upset, but I've already told you I enjoy debating. I wave away Amicus's rush to smooth things over. No, me too. I'm just a little tired today. What I want to talk about is what's about to happen to me, about how I'm starting to lose my courage at the last minute, how I don't want to do anything except stay on this couch. But I can tell Amicus doesn't. He came in with the stories of the day right away, as if this isn't our last night together. While it had been easy to pretend with Neferu, it's much more difficult seeing Amicus put on such an act to, I assume, make me feel better. Amicus, I don't know if I can... Amicus suddenly holds up a paw. Wait, Marco, I know, but please, let's have this night together. I promise you, the situation will become clearer to you. Just give it a little more time. That gives me pause. It's like Amicus knows something that I don't. And trust me, because we are traveling back to Earth together, we will have plenty of time to discuss whatever you wish. Amicus's eyes start to glisten just slightly as he holds back tears, then clears his throat. But for now, I think it's preposterous that they expect me to apologize. I watched Amicus for a long time, realizing that he might be right. He's in constant contact with the parents, and I've respected the fact that he can't tell me what they say unless given specific permission to do so. And though the feeling is unnerving, there's also some comfort in the idea that maybe something will help me at the last minute, and Amicus seems to know that. On top of that, he knows how hard this is going to be. We both do. But he wants to save the tears for the end, and so do I. So... well, if it's just the Imperial family apologizing, that's actually asking for very little to create an alliance. It's one of many demands, and they simply want to humiliate us, all because Neferu managed to get his balls kicked in. I mean, the Pharaoh's son. You should honestly consider yourself lucky no one else saw you hit him. He's an easy one to hit. What does he expect, leaving himself wide open? He deserved it, both times. I sigh. Be nice, Amicus. But I lean into him, and he finally pulls me into his lap, nuzzling my hair. We talk for a while longer, the two of us trying to stay awake as long as possible. I finally manage to relax a bit, and finally my eyes grow heavy, and Amicus's warm breath puffs steadily against my head. I imagine this moment folding into a pocket of infinity, made to go on forever. Our responsibilities gone, the coming trials never to arrive. But time does march on, because without realizing it, I start to fall asleep. You are on the right path. I grasped blindly at the sound of his voice. Help me. I don't know what to do. My feet slide quietly across the rug and marble, leaving Amicus behind on the sofa. Apologies for the extended silence. But why? I don't know what I'm doing. But you do. I walk deliberately in the direction I know to go, my only distraction being the furious twitching in my left eyelid. You needed time to learn about yourself, to learn about the Galaxius, to steel your resolve, and now you are ready to forge ahead. But I'm not. Then, would you like to glance through the eyes of the parents to see what lies ahead? Yes. How do I even begin? Instructions for the first step in your assignment will be given upon your arrival back on Earth. But what we want to show you is instead what is possible. What is guaranteed if you follow all of our instructions. He senses my confusion. Instead of telling you, we can show you. My left eyelid flutters. Everything starts to fade. Eight years pass by in a cosmic microsecond. You return to Adastra a changed man. You find Amicus changed as well. What does not change are the feelings between you. The thread connecting you to your wolf never breaks, never wavers, a constant reminder of where you belong. And when you see him again, you will know this. You will spend the rest of your life with Amicus. A long life. You worry that what is ahead is too difficult. Instead, the worst is far, far behind you, and will only grow more distant with the slow passage of time. You marry Amicus. You travel the Galaxius with him, always by his side, never to be separated again as you continue your work. You see creatures and civilizations that no human before you could have ever dreamed of. You experience much. Some of it is difficult and painful, but most of it is beautiful. You carry these experiences with you for the rest of your life. You see Neferu again. You work with him, and he will become your closest ally. And then you return to Adastra 40 years later, your work complete. But much more time is ahead of you. You make full use of it. You and your wolf change Adastra for the better. A power will shift from the Imperial family as Amicus reforms the fabric of Adastran politics. You and your wolf will have more time with each other, and within 100 years the Imperial family will formally relinquish its hold on the moon. You spend most of your time with Amicus, and some of your time alone. But all of it is time well spent. He takes you to the lake. He takes you to the city. And 200 years after you first met Amicus, you both retire to a villa on the countryside. You grow old together. For the last 50 years of your life, you create even more experiences with him, somehow just as exciting as the ones in your youth. You defy all expectations and live nearly 300 years. And when the inevitable happens, you slip through to the next plane easily, ending this life in his arms, the smell of lavender the last sense you experience. And then, only a few decades later, your wolf joins you in the amalgamation. You will mingle there for eternity, reliving the best moments of your life with your wolf forever. I come to slowly on the floor, under the archives. My vision is blurry and I reach up to wipe away tears. Even now, I feel the incredible warmth and happiness that seemed to overflow from my chest as I lived that... What was that? My future? I'm not sure what to think right now, but for the first time in months, I feel completely at peace. This is my future. I need this future. The sights and feelings were so vivid, so beautiful. I need that life with Amicus. Even though it feels as if the parents are stringing me along with the promise of a reward, I also felt the feelings of my future self. I truly believed in what I was doing, or I guess will believe. I had mixed and melded with so many different times that I'm a little confused as to what time I'm in now. It takes a moment to become used to seeing time like a human again, instead of a parent. But when I adjust, my heart leaps in my chest at the thought of so much time ahead. The 8 years are nothing. I lay there for a while longer, catching my breath, then just staring at the starry sky through the opening in the ceiling. Silently, I thank the parents for finally showing me what the point of everything is. With a shaky sigh, I get to my feet, wanting to get back to Amicus's room, wanting to tell him everything, but knowing I can't. I wonder if they let him see it as well. I hope so. I take a deep breath, feeling the cool, fragrant night air against my wet face. I stand there a moment, just happy to be alive. I'm so lost in this euphoria that I barely notice footsteps up the hall. Then voices. Laughing and talking. I just stand in the doorway, recognizing those voices.
Cassius, stop! We need to be quiet.
Alex's voice is a hushed whisper, though I can tell he's trying not to laugh.
Oh, I'm not your tail kitten. What will they do? Arrest me?
Something is odd about Cassius's voice. It's slurred and tired sounding. I don't even attempt to hide as the two of them stumble into view, Alex clinging to Cassius's neck as the wolf tries to keep his balance. Alex giggles while Cassius playfully nips him around his face and neck.
Stop! You're gonna make me laugh! Someone will hear!
Alex spots me and pulls away from Cassius, standing stiffly to the side. Cassius, not having seen me yet, tries grabbing at him, but gets his paws slapped.
Ouch! Not so rough. My joints ache.
He stares at Alex even as the cat tries to nod in my direction to tip the wolf off. It takes a minute, but eventually the white wolf gets it.
What's,
He looks at me, takes a moment to process it, then stiffens up as well.
Oh. Ape creature.
I frown, wondering if he's forgotten my name already. But my focus is mainly on Alex. Hey, Alex. I'm still feeling bizarrely high and confident from my time trip.
Hello?
This is good. I actually wanted to talk to you before I leave.
Oh? What about?
Well, first of all, what are you doing here? Cassius steps forward unsteadily, pointing at me, I think. His finger kind of drifts off to the side.
What right do you have to question him, human?
Alex quickly grabs one of Cassius's arms and tries to pull him back.
Cassius, please! You're acting very uppity for someone who is still considered a pet, even if you did win my brother's favor.
I lean against the doorway casually, smiling. Oh, I want more than that. But if you really want, I can call Amicus. He should have the proper authority.
No!
Alex freezes and every inch of his fur bristles out. I wait, not saying anything, but Alex also says nothing, just clinging to Cassius's arm as he stares at me, as if just moving will lead me to make good on my threat. Well, then maybe we can start with what it is you're doing here. Last I heard, you were banished from the palace. Cassius steps forward again, stumbling a bit as he drags Alex along.
Enough intimidating my cat. We are here to claim my father's ship, which we will then pilot to Amorpha.
Alex stares open-mouthed at Cassius, clearly shocked at how quickly his plans had just been revealed.
Cassius! What? Am I saying something wrong? Well, consider it your fault, as you wouldn't stop pressing the wine bottle to my mouth.
Alex can only stare back at the wolf, mouth agape before he snaps it closed and turns to me.
My master is simply drunk, if that was not already obvious. I am perfectly coherent despite my slightly inebriated state. Coherency isn't the issue, Cass.
Alex hisses angrily at the wolf before turning back to me, smoothing his fur down.
My master brought me here simply because he wanted to. As his pet, I have no choice but to obey.
I see Alexios' paw grip more tightly onto Cassius' arm, warning him.
Ouch! What did I say about being sore?
I sigh as I finally recognize that look in Alex's eyes. So, you were planning to steal the Emperor's ship, which is Amicus's ship now, by the way, just before I was due to leave.
Oh, you're leaving?
Alex isn't even trying at this point. Man, you're a real piece of shit, you know that?
And you're a reckless ape with no consideration for the rest of the galaxy.
I blink in surprise, though I'm a little satisfied to see that I've gotten through his shield of indifference. Cassius, who had opened his mouth to butt in again, suddenly pauses, raising an eyebrow at the two of us.
Wait a moment. Do you two have some sort of history? You speak in a familiar way to each other. No, Cassius, only in passing.
I remember then that Alex had tried to keep our interactions hidden from Cassius, though not the information I'd unwittingly given the cat during our many conversations. I ignore the wolf for the moment, unwilling to let his traitorous feline get the last word in. And you have no consideration for the lives of anyone on this moon. I turn to Cassius. And how do you explain still wanting to get with this cat when he's responsible for most of the terrible things that happened to us last year? To your family?
Don't talk to him, Cassius. Let's just leave.
No, you're not leaving. Otherwise, I'm calling for Amicus. I look to Alex, who purses his lips tightly before turning my attention back to Cassius.
That is none of your concern. But if you must know, then... Cassius! Consider how you would feel left in a position in which the intents of your entire society rested upon your shoulders. He had little choice while also underestimating Kato's brutality.
Cassius's words are less slurred now, the topic of conversation seeming to have sobered him up a bit. He did have the choice to accept his assignment, as he put it, and I think he's smart enough to know his actions would destroy countless lives.
You misunderstand. His choice was an illusion so as to assure the cats, especially the ones giving the command, that they are still grounded by their values. I fully understand this, and so did Amicus when I explained the situation. We have both been left in such positions before.
I shake my head. How can you not blame him for the destruction and death of your people?
Marco, he is only the stylus. I blame the hand of his government that wielded him like a disposable tool.
Alex is tugging on the wolf's arm again, pulling him toward the main exit.
Cassius, let's just leave. There's more wine in our apartment.
I sigh, realizing that I probably won't ever have my questions about Alex answered. That he'll probably never get what he deserves. It still bothers me that he got off so easily, that Cassius shields him from any sort of comeuppance. Why do you trust him, Cassius? He's a traitor. But here you are, leaving your empire vulnerable by letting him get close to you, the brother of the Emperor. Cassius pouts, putting an arm around Alexios.
Because we understand each other, Marco. As you and Amicus somehow understand each other. I've grown tired of the games of politics. I simply want peace with an understanding partner.
By running away to Amorpha? Last I heard, they despise your kind.
Actually, we're similar in many ways, one being our shared culture.
I try not to roll my eyes at the word shared.
And the other being the fact that the cats now oppose the parents. I believe this can result in plenty of common ground. Come on!
Alex yanks the wolf, making Cassius yelp before stumbling after the cat.
Oh, son of a whore, Alex! You're lucky I'm drunk, otherwise you could have seriously injured me.
I watch the two of them disappear through the exit, part of me wanting to call security and have the cat arrested for trying to hijack Amicus's ship. At the same time, though, I wonder if it'll do us any good, considering what the cat has already gotten away with. Still, I feel like Cassius seemingly wanted to abandon the Empire, while drunk or not, is something Amicus should know about. I decide that I will tell Amicus, but when we're both on our way back to Earth and he has time to think over what he wants to do about this. As for Alex as a whole, I suppose his motivation, and Cassius's willingness to defend him, makes a little more sense. But I still don't like any of it. We all have a choice, whether you want to pretend it's an illusion or not. I'm in the process of making my own right now. I head back to our bedroom, suddenly extremely tired as the euphoria begins to wear off. I still feel as if I've lived an entire lifetime in just half an hour. So when I find Amicus in the same position on the couch, I practically fall back into his arms. He shifts when I do, then hugs me tight before falling back to sleep. I wiggle myself deeper into his embrace before doing the same, falling asleep almost instantly. It only seems like a second passes before I feel myself being moved around. And then I feel Amicus's paw on my head, gently nudging me out of sleep. Hey there, love. It's time to get ready. I stand off to the side, watching Amicus load up the ship while checking various gadgets. Virginia and Neferu make small talk, the kind that makes it feel as if I'm not going away for 8 years, that everything is still normal. Then I have to remind myself that this technically isn't normal, even though it feels that way now. Finally, Amicus walks up to us, brushing his paws together. Well, it's about time we're off. I should be back in no more than 2 days' time, Virginia.
I certainly hope that to be the case, considering how much work will pile up. I'll try and keep the Empire from rebelling while you're gone, though.
Thank you, Virginia.
And I look forward to our next reunion, Marco. I hope your experiences contribute to a more disciplined character.
Thanks?
Of course.
Virginia sticks out a paw, and I blink at it until realizing what she's doing. The way I first greeted her. I bend to kiss it.
Goodbye, Marco.
I step back awkwardly. Bye. Then Neferu's paw sticks out, and I hear Amicus sigh loudly next to me. I don't humor the jackal, though, instead just forcing it into an awkward handshake.
That's a new one.
Another human greeting. I'll have to show you more when I see you next time.
Whenever that might be.
It'll happen. I promise. Neferu raises an eyebrow at my assuredness, but nods.
Well, here's a Kemian goodbye. One between those who are close.
He then leans down, pulling me forward. My chin rests on his shoulder, his paw coming up to rest on my head, his cheek pressed to mine.
May Ahotep be with you on every step of your journey, brother, and may he help you to find all that you seek.
I expect to hear Amicus make more noises of disapproval, but it's quiet. I stand there for a few moments, then awkwardly put my hand on the jackal's head, hoping I'm returning the gesture appropriately. I stand still until Neferu lets go and pulls back. Never heard you call me brother before.
It's a farewell normally reserved for siblings. I haven't performed it since I last saw my sister on Kemia, in fact.
You see me as a brother?
Close enough. Until we meet again, friend.
Thanks. And yeah, until then, Neferu. Amicus coughs awkwardly, stepping forward and putting his paw around my shoulder. All right. See you all when I return. Virginia smiles and Neferu nods as we turn away from them, Amicus leading the way to the ship that's parked on the palace lawn. He jumps in first, then reaches down to pull me up. As soon as I'm inside, the door closes before I can look back. I'm struck by the fact that I haven't been inside the ship since I first got here, yet it's all so familiar. All right, let's make sure we have everything. Amicus walks around the back of the ship, looking at various compartments, looking into the utility closet that I'd once been stuffed into. He opens the door to his quarters, doing more checks. I move to the seat that I'd sat in a year ago and look out the window. Virginia and Neferu stand by the entrance of the palace, still watching. I wave, and Neferu raises a paw in acknowledgement. Everything appears to be in order. Calm. Initiate liftoff.
Liftoff sequence engaged.
The ship rumbles, though there isn't any sound as we begin to lift off the ground. Amicus sits heavily in his seat, with a thump, buckling his seatbelt while I do the same. I watch out the window as Neferu, Virginia, and the palace grow smaller and smaller, along with the entire city of Adastra. It's not unlike taking off from the airport on my way back to Rome, though this is much faster. Before I know it, the glittering city fades into a small, sparkling spot of light on the globe of the moon. I stare out at Adastra, at the little patches of glittering lights indicating the cities, and at the long stretches of dark blue that indicate the oceans. That's when I notice Amicus watching me closely. What? The big wolf shrugs. Oh, just curious as to how you might feel at this moment. I must say, you seem rather less stressed than you had been last night. I go back to looking out the window, getting a last look at Adastra along with the smaller Torque and the much larger and Chorus. I guess things just became clearer, kind of like you said they would. Amicus grins, and now I get the feeling that he knows exactly what I saw.
Sufficient distance achieved. Prepare to enter the stretch drive.
Amicus reaches out a paw, and I take it. Then you know that there is much ahead of us. Together. I nod. Too many different emotions conflicting inside me to understand how exactly I feel as I watch Adastra get smaller and smaller. Then it's gone, replaced with warped space and unimaginable distance. About 10 hours. That's how much time we have before we get to Earth. We agreed to stay up and treat it like having an entire day to ourselves. 2 hours pass quickly as we lie on the cot as Amicus entertains me with the various foods we have stashed in the compartments along the wall. He'd brought plenty this time. He'd learned his lesson the first time after he ran out and had to rely on the less than savory protein mud shake. As for the space travel food, they apparently can't go bad, so we open every single one, taste testing them and ranking them from worst to best. Amicus is surprised that our rankings are nearly opposite each other, even though I expected it. You're always wanting anything sweet, Amicus. Yes, because sweet is good. Sometimes, but I'd rather have more of something that's salty and savory rather than sweet. But why? It's like dessert all the time. There's a reason dessert is small and comes last, Amicus. I don't see the reason. Ever heard of too much of a good thing? If something is good, then there can never be enough of it. Amicus flicks a round blue pebble-like pellet into his muzzle, that I assume is some kind of fruit-flavored candy. I settle with munching on my salty potato chip-like dried vegetable, finding it sad that it's a bit better than most of the bland food on Adastra. Did your parents, ban you from eating anything sweet or something? Amicus pauses, in the process of pouring half the bag into his muzzle before talking with his mouth full. Oh, yeah. How did you know? I grimace. So that's how you ran out of food last time. Amicus chews for a while, then swallows. It's not like I'm always eating sweets. Virginia disallows me from doing so as well. I'm simply taking advantage of not being under supervision at the moment. Amicus, your consumption of sugars has exceeded your daily limit. A report for Virginia has been filed and will be supplied to her upon landing on Adastra. Amicus pauses, then shrugs, pouring the rest of the bag into his mouth. Well, as long as you have the parental tech to keep you healthy. We do. Everything in my body is regulated to normal levels once a month. Wow, lucky you. So I'm technically free from any poor choice I make diet-wise. I'm simply kept away from sweets to discipline my impulses. Well, that's clearly not working at all. Amicus smirks at me before opening another bag of what looks like candy. I glare at him, then poke him in the stomach, making him grunt. I think you're actually gaining a little more weight. The wolf clasps his stomach with a hard smack. This? It's part of my stature, and is important to my center of gravity in combat. Oh, really? I move to sit on Amicus's lap, rubbing my face against his bulk. Yes, you see how handily I handle you when we wrestle. Besides, you like it. I rest my head against his chest, feeling the softness of his strong body swell around me with each breath he takes. You got me there. I listen to the candies clack around in his mouth, against his teeth and against each other. I've been savoring everything about him that I can, even just the sounds of him eating candy. We sit there in silence for a bit, becoming all too aware of the passage of time. I take a deep breath. So, will we be able to communicate at all over the next 8 years? Amicus pauses, his mood lowering a bit to match mine. That's hard to say. I've wondered similar things, but I have not received an answer. I sigh deeply. Sometimes I hate the parents. Amicus laughs, a stark contrast to how he would have reacted to such a statement a year ago. They are frustrating, to say the least. I have a feeling that we will, though. Yeah? Yes. They work in very mysterious ways. I believe it is clear now that the archives are not their only method of communication. I think the two of us joining together in, say, a dream would not be out of the realm of possibility. The confidence I'd originally felt while leaving Adastra is fading away at this point. Instead, I feel that familiar feeling of dread and uncertainty to take over my mind. I hug Amicus harder, pressing my face into his fur, inhaling the lavender scent. I mumble into his chest. I'm scared. Why's that? There is nothing to be afraid of. Amicus hugs me tightly, nuzzling my hair. Even now, he's managing to hold it together somehow, and that actually makes me feel a little grateful. I don't know how I'd be able to do this if he was acting as unsure as I am right now. You know how big of a fuck-up I am? What if I do something wrong? Amicus chuckles. I feel that the parents would not attempt this unless they themselves were certain of success. Simply follow their guidance. I'm silent at that, and Amicus knows why. I know that what we experienced with Kato was terrible. They weren't able to see as clearly. I know that they are much more confident here. I don't know how I feel about being guided by gods that I don't know what they're doing. Well, they are not gods, which is why they are prone to mistakes. But the time I've spent communicating with them over the past year has left me a bit more confident in their capabilities. I squeeze my eyes, letting the small amount of tears that had built up get soaked into the wolf's fur so he doesn't see when I look up at him. Why's that? He smiles at me, placing a paw against my head and pushing it back down against his shoulder. Well, they have far more tools at their disposal than we do. I mean, they actually see the future in some ways. If I must trust anyone with my future, it would be the parents. I just don't want to mess up and not be able to see you again. Amicus's expression grows stern. That will not happen. I will make sure of it, no matter what the parents say. But do we even have a choice? Does it bother you that it feels like we don't have a say in anything? These are conversations we've had before, but for some reason I keep flip-flopping on whether or not I actually do have a choice here. We do. We just have to have the advantage of knowing the alternatives, and that path is much more desirable. I'm reminded that while Amicus might be more open to criticizing the parents, he certainly still believes in their plan. I don't know if I feel the same quite yet. You saw our future? Amicus pauses, probably wondering if this is okay to share. He seems to make up his mind. Yes. It was beautiful. I worry it's not really gonna happen. I've only thought of it now, but what if they're leading us on? Amicus grunts in surprise, clearly not having thought of that himself. They wouldn't do that. But I suppose there is some degree of trust that goes into this, yeah? We're here because of them. All of us are. And I have to trust that. I sigh deeply. I just wish we could run away to some other peaceful planet or something. But I know we wouldn't be together unless we were meant to do this. So I guess that's partly why I'm going along with it. You know, judging by the vision, I think we will come to believe in our mission over time. I hope so. Amicus slowly pulls me back to lie down with him, both of us lying on our sides as he spoons me. I try to think of something to say. Anything, really. Time is truly running out now, but I still come up short. Instead, I lie back against Amicus, amongst the many silver wrappers of food, listening to him suck on his candies. It's comfortable, and for a moment I let go of my worries, and the tiredness of the night before catches up to me.
Exiting the stretch drive. Prepare for arrival in 20 minutes.
I come to with a sudden jolt, Amicus jumping behind me as well. I sit up, rubbing my eyes. Wait, already? Amicus sits up next to me, a paw on my back. Are you alright? Damn it, Amicus! We were supposed to stay up! There's a sinking feeling in my chest as I realize we've slept away most of the time we had to travel. Why'd you let me fall asleep? I look at him accusingly, even as my eyes start to blur with tears. Sorry, we were both so tired. You seemed at peace, and I didn't... Ah! I throw off the blanket that Amix had pulled over us, and step out of bed, turning away in case I break down like a little kid. Marco! I act like I don't hear him, moving to the cockpit area to look out the windows. Sure enough, we're no longer in the stretch, instead drifting toward a familiar globe in the distance. Approaching Earth. We'll arrive at Marco's residence in Rome, Italy. A heavy paw rests on my back. Marco. We're out of time. The lump in my throat makes it hard to talk. Slowly, Amicus hugs me. Marco, we did have time. Several months, in fact. A few hours on a ship is no time lost. Any time is lost at this point. Amicus doesn't say anything, and I lean my head back against him, swallowing down my bitter attitude because I'm not about to let it ruin our last moments together. Sorry, I'm not ready. I'll be able to come into your apartment. We do still have a bit of time left, you know. I nod, quietly, allowing Amicus to hold me for a bit until we have to get back in our seats for re-entry. I feel slightly queasy as we approach Earth at an unreal speed. I quickly spot Europe. The brilliant sprawl of light spanning the continent as a whole are far more intense than any city on Adastra. Italy's characteristic boot-like shape stands out from the darkness of the seas that surround it. I focus on the glittering patch that I know is Rome, and within seconds we're descending into it. Won't everyone see us? We're cloaked. I trust what the wolf says, even though I haven't noticed any difference. We continue to descend at a rapid pace, and as we approach a block of apartments, I grip onto the seat in anticipation of a hard landing. But our sudden yet gradual halt is gentle. We come to a rest on the roof of my residence. You landed on the roof? Indeed. There was no room elsewhere. Amicus opens the door and jumps out, and again I'm worried about being seen. But when he helps me out, I realize how dark it is. A stretch schedule indicates liftoff should commence in 15 minutes. Another twist in my chest as we're down to literally minutes. Amicus leads the way to the fire escape, and I'm struck by how strange it is seeing my wolf framed by this human world. The sights of Rome, the sounds of distant traffic. It almost makes me dizzy with how familiar it is despite having been away for so long. Amicus stops at a balcony, and I trust that it's the one to my apartment, as he boldly slides open the door, apparently aware that the landlord never seems to keep it locked. I step inside, and through the darkness I can see that my personal belongings are gone, obviously. It's cleaned out, and looks just about the same as when I first got here. It's empty, luckily, and I wonder if anyone has stayed here since I went missing. Probably not if there's an investigation. I swallow hard, remembering how much media coverage and documentaries there were about the two Canadian and British students that went missing here a few years ago. and the coverage of an Australian student who disappeared a week before I arrived. I hope I didn't get the same treatment while I was away, but I get the feeling that I must have. I shake my head, once again wondering where to even begin. I turn around, seeing Amicus standing there, and immediately I get a painful, stabbing feeling between my throat and chest. His pose and demeanor. It's finally reflecting that our time together is coming to an end. We both stand a few feet apart, unsure of what to say. Well, yeah. I suppose we should begin our farewells. Yeah. Until next time, at least. Yes. It will only be a moment in the overall time that we will have together. Yeah. I'll bet when you come back to get me, we'll be like, wow, it was only yesterday you dropped me off. Of course. Not even a full day. It will feel like hours, I'm sure. The parents called it a cosmic microsecond or something. Well, probably a bit longer than a microsecond, though I'm unsure of the length of a cosmic one. 8 years, I guess. I suppose that would be the case. I try not to think about all the things that are going to make me cry. Like the thought of not waking up to Amicus for the first time in months. Or the fact that I won't have someone to really talk to at the end of the day. That I won't have someone who's just genuinely kind and loving toward me like no one ever was before. I swallow the lump in my throat again. No, I'll have time to fall apart as soon as he leaves. I step forward and hug Amicus, burying my face in the warmth of his furry body, breathing in his scent. I'm determined to imprint this moment in my mind. Something to help weather what I'm sure will be a hard 8 years. He rocks us back and forth for a moment, kissing my head like he always does. You are more than prepared for this. You're strong. Why else would you have been chosen? Thanks. And you'll continue to be an amazing emperor, Amicus. Here's hoping. Though I still don't even know what to do right now, to be honest. Like, do I just walk out into the street next? Oh! Amicus steps back, feeling around his cape and trousers. I really hope I remembered. Here. Amicus pulls out a slim silver rod about a foot long. It's one of those holographic tablets that I see the Imperial family carrying around every now and then, aside from Amicus. I've gotten the impression that he just isn't fond of electronics. The parents have instructed me to give you this. It will connect you to your lingua, which will transmit and display information that you might need. Otherwise, all communication will be through the lingua. I reach out, taking it. The cold metal light in my hands. You almost forgot to give it to me. Yeah, well, I did remember. I sigh, turning the rod over in my hands. You turn it on by tapping the top. I do as I'm told, and a blue, glowing plane slides out from the rod, like a page attached to the spine of a book. It's blank for now. Just wait until they offer instructions. Okay. I tap the top of the rod again, and the hologram recedes. Another awkward moment of silence, then. Marco. I'm so happy to have met you. And I thank you. You have made me a better man. And though this will be painful... Amicus's voice cracks. His resolve to remain strong finally gives in. I will think of you every day. And we will meet again in 8 years. No matter what might happen between now and then, I will see you again. His voice is strained as he struggles to get his words out. Then the tears really begin to spilling over. Damn it! Amicus raises a paw to cover his face in frustration, like he actually planned on not crying before we parted ways. I find that silly, because of course we'd cry. I'm doing the same as I move forward and wrap him up in a tight, almost desperate hug. He crushes me to his body, letting out a loud, gasping sob through his teeth as I feel the wetness of his tears land on my head. I love you so much, Marco. I love you too. Like I've said, this is simply a stone in the way of our chariot's wheel. These few years are simply the push, and we'll be on our way again. And things will get easier over time. Without a doubt. And remember your ring. Though I might be moving away, I'm moving right towards you from the other side. We are permanently connected. Yeah, the universe is spherical. I don't care about the other theories. We both stand there, holding each other, trembling and sobbing. After a few minutes, though, we both calm down a little. And eventually I hear a calm buzz faintly in Amicus's ear.
Liftoff sequence should be engaged in 1 minute.
Amicus steps back, firmly gripping my shoulders. He's smiling through the tears. And I think we shall see each other before then. The parents are mysterious, like I said. Definitely. Marco, my lover, my partner, my future husband. I love you. And you know I love you too. Amicus pulls me against his chest again, hard, squeezing me. You will have amazing success here. I'll see you soon. Very soon. He plants a kiss on my mouth, and I have just enough time to kiss back before my wolf turns away and disappears out the balcony door. I listen to the metallic sounds of his footsteps hurrying up the fire escape. Then nothing until there's a soft hum that I can only imagine is the ship before it's silent again. I stand there in the dark room, feeling a little stunned before moving to turn on the light. I stand there, staring, unsure of how to feel. For the moment, it's mostly just an empty feeling. One that I'm sure will start to ache as soon as I come to realize how lonely I actually am. For now, though, I move to the desk, waiting, thinking. And then I set the metal rod on top of the desk and tap the top. The blue pane appears again, and I stare at it. It's blank, and I start to wonder if I should keep it open. Maybe I should try to get some more sleep before facing what I'm sure will be a chaotic day. At that moment, though, I feel a twitch in my left eyelid. Then words appear on the blue plane. Proceed to the European Commission offices. A committee is expecting your arrival in 1 hour and 20 minutes. I stare at the words, realizing that I might not actually be alone amongst humanity, having all of this knowledge. I look around, as if I have something to take with me. But no, I'm still in my robes. People will probably just think I'm a street performer or a crazy tourist. At 3 a.m. My eyelid twitches again and a map appears on the screen, showing me a half-hour walk through various alleys and back streets, meant to keep me out of sight, I imagine. So, with a deep breath, I pocket my alien gadget, preparing myself to begin this journey. I'm scared, but also relieved that things are moving so quickly. And also relieved that this will keep my mind off the separation I just experienced. With any luck, I'll be kept busy enough that I won't have to feel the full brunt of that agony all at once. I look back into the room where it all started, taking a deep breath. I'm actually kind of excited. The thing I'd been dreading for months has now started, and that gives me a boost of adrenaline, preparing myself to face my duty. Then I turn off the light, leaving the apartment behind, ready to start another new life. Yay! I made it. We made it. I don't know if I'm going to do Chemia next, but now I can read Chemia. Maybe there'll be something in the middle. I need to figure out what voice I'm going to give this guy. I make my way quickly to the throne room, trying my best to contain my excitement. The most difficult part of this exciting new life I have is pretending that I'm not excited at all. Probably not going to be this voice, it's too close to Neferu. So I try to look dignified as I walk into the throne room, toward Amicus seated at the back. I stop and bow as low as I possibly can. No need for that. What news do you have, Scipio? Unfortunately, I can't stop the smile from spreading across my face as I hold up the message. The Pharaoh has accepted our request. The diplomatic mission may commence as soon as you are ready, Emperor Amicus. Yay! So yeah. That was my intro to VNs. The first one I read. Yeah. Right. Chemia soon. I'll figure out what I'm doing. And then I'll do it. Yeah. So, thanks for joining me for this one. If you watched the whole thing, thank you so much for sticking around. It was good. It was fun. And I hope to see you next time when I do Chemia. Well, maybe not next time, but you know what I mean. See you then. Bye.